Have you ever thought about taking your show on the road, traveling with your craft? Today, I am pleased to welcome two artisans that paired up and traveled this summer selling their products. They sold them at craft festivals and events, and we're here to share their story because it was a really unique and innovative way to sell products. And this might be something you might want to think about for your eco-conscious business. So welcome, Carolyn and Ilka, and can you please go ahead and introduce yourselves? And Carolyn, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, hi, I'm Caroline. So my business is called My Reusables. So I curate and make alternatives to single-use and plastics for use at home, for on the go. So I have things like bamboo cutlery sets, bamboo straws, coffee cups, coconut bowls. So just a few little ideas to try and help people think against single use, really. So alternatives that I can make myself and that they can use. And I use only repurposed fabrics. So everything I make is made from repurposed fabrics from other people's projects. So yeah, it's a nice little business, and I'm really proud of it.
Mhm.
And hi everyone, my name is Ilke, and my business is Eco Studio Design. Didn't go creative with the business name there, but I do zero waste textiles with my own print design. So when I cut and sew items, I don't generate any textile waste. Or if I have bits and bobs, I always try to use it within other products. And I try to use, similar to Caroline, repurposed materials on my linings or on the inside bits where it's just plain fabrics. And I do make like eye masks, crunchies, some what else I do? Textile jewelries or fabric offcuts, little catnip pouches or lavender bags. So I try to use every bits and bobs basically. Yeah.
And just in case anyone recognizes Ilka, she was on the cover of the magazine earlier this year. So like, oh, I thought I'd seen her somewhere, and she's back. And you can't have an eco-conscious artisan business event without bringing one of your most eco-conscious artisans that you've had in the magazine with her zero waste textiles business. Now, it's really interesting with these two highly complementary businesses, two eco-conscious businesses, and you decided to take this on the road. Can Which one of you would like to talk about how did you come up with the idea to partner up and go on the road? Because that's a pretty different idea.
Okay, go for
Yeah, I don't know how it happened really. I feel like we were talking and just to see what we do, what events would do, because we also live close by, so we usually meet up for like quick coffee or brunch just to help each other's in between. I actually don't remember. Do you remember?
I think we both were really keen to do festivals. We'd done a festival together, but in a big marquee. With loads of other businesses. So that was almost like we just had to bring our stuff. We didn't have to bring any of the setup. And I think we just both really liked that. We camped together there. And then I just think we just started, I can't actually remember how it happened, but we just went, this could be a good thing for us to do together.
Yeah.
And I think we both kept hearing about these festivals, but all of them were saying, you need your own setup, you need your own setup, you need your own setup. And we were like, maybe we should get our own setup. But then we thought, because we do our businesses by ourselves, we couldn't really do it, just me or Ilka doing it. So we thought, let's join forces. Our brands complement each other, but they're different enough that we're not going to tread on each other's toes. So we thought, let's give it a go. And we did.
Yeah, we applied as like together businesses on those events, just try to like sell each other's as one package. And actually, I think it worked really well, and people also seen it. The organizers have seen that as well. And then we were able to get in a couple events, and we just treat it as like a test run this year to see how it goes, if we're happy with each other to spend all the time, and if also we're happy with all the setup, if everything is working well, and hopefully there's more to come.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's such an interesting way to travel, and it's really nice to hear that the festivals were open to it because so often you have to apply as individual artisans, and if you don't have help, eventually you run out of friends and family that want to help you sell at shows and other things. And if you don't have anyone else to help, that gets really hard then. So it's really nice when the festivals are like, yeah, that's okay that there's two of you that are working together to do it. it actually could bring them a wider offering. So if any
Yeah,
festivals happen to be listening to this, it's an interesting way to be able to add more artisans, and it makes it at a price point that works
exactly.
for the artisans too, because a lot of shows are getting pretty expensive to vend at as well. So it's really for all around, for the festivals that want to welcome in new and interesting businesses, for the artisans that want to actually travel together and maybe have someone to help, because there's a practicality of, you need to go to the bathroom, right? And you need to go get some food, and you hate always begging your booth neighbor,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
especially if you don't get a friendly booth neighbor. You're really out of luck when that happens. So let's talk a little bit about, how did you figure out your setup for the two of you approaching this? Because this was a very new thing for you.
Yeah.
How did you think through the setup and how you wanted to set it up with the two businesses together?
Well, I think
We did a
so
test setup.
yeah, we did. We in my back garden,
Mm,
we've got the gazebo, and then we just got what tables we had and tried to work out how we could make it look like a little shop. But we kind of we do a lot of events, so we've seen different setups in people's gazebos. So we kind of had an idea about how we wanted it to feel,
Yeah.
but it was just trying to achieve that and also fitting all that stuff in one car, which was the challenge. But we did it, and I think we did change it a bit as we went along, and trying to make things further, like bring things out the front of the gazebo to welt, so people could see what we were doing without having to venture in. I think that was really important, but I still think we could do that a bit better. I think there's more we could do next year to kind of make that better. But yeah, I think the setup was it was a bit of a tricky one, to say the least. And we were actually concerned we weren't going to be able to fit everything in the car. So we were basically going, right, this, in an ideal world, this is what we want to take. And then we would kind of go, if we can't fit all of it in, this is the first thing we won't take, and this is the next thing we won't take. So we had to kind of just like
Groups.
But we did it, and
everything fits.
Yeah, and it looked really good. Like I was really proud of us. I think, especially on the last one.
Yes,
I think we'd nailed it by the end. Like the first one was a bit. We didn't have a big sign at the back, and we needed a few. We needed a bit more, but we worked that out as we went along.
Yeah. And then the first one was a good trial run, actually, because we did move things around after that. We set up, I think it took like 5 hours or something. We thought we had plenty of time, and by the time we finished, it was like 3 o'clock, and we're like, oh, it's done. But we were actually open to public at that point.
and that's a practical matter, right? That's a very practical, hey, if you want to do this, figuring out your setup, figuring out how you're going to lay it all out. It's one thing when it's one business, but it's a very different endeavor when it's two businesses.
Yeah.
But by the end, the neat thing about how you did it is, by the last time you did it, I bet you had this pretty much down to a science by that last one.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Maybe?
I mean, it certainly didn't take us 5 hours to set up on the last one.
It was quicker.
I think, it was, because at first we were just going to, we didn't know whether we should merge the two businesses together or whether that would confuse people. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had like one side each, and then at the back we had like a joint area, and that kind of worked, and people could tell the difference. I think pretty much. I think
so, yeah.
But we weren't bothered about that. But I think it was more, I don't know, we just didn't really know how to do it, and I think that did work better to have our separate businesses, one on each side, but then have like bits merged together at the back, and I think that worked really well.
Yeah.
From a practical perspective, did you use one point of sale system, use two different ones, and depending upon who was purchasing? No. How did you run the actual purchasing process side of it, given that you had two businesses together in one location?
Yeah.
We had two. We used our own personal ones, or if it was an event that they were giving us the sales machine, we use their machine. But because we've spent basically a month with each other now, pretty much, we've learned each other's products, we were able to talk about it, we did help each other's in the sales as well. And if a customer was coming in and say interested in something that Caroline was making, then I would just go and pick her phone up. We knew each other's codes and all the details, so I was just putting the code in, vice versa, same with her. So
Yeah, because sometimes it was like there could be 4 or 5 people in the gazebo, and they'd all be looking at my stuff, or all be looking at other stuff. So we kind of helped each other out. So if they were looking at her stuff, I would tell them what they were looking at and tell them a bit about it. And then if they wanted to buy it, I would then we had 2 phones each.
Yes, yeah.
So I would get her spare phone and take the payment on hers. I mean, if I could have just taken it on mine, but it just kept it more straightforward if we just used our own. But we had 2 devices each, so that made life a lot easier. So we could sell for each other whilst the other one was selling to someone else. So that was good.
Yeah,
It also helped
it's a
connection issues, by the way. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, that was fun.
Were you using Square, or which system were you using?
I use Square, and
I use
iZettle. But it was more most of the places we had Wi-Fi, but sometimes the Wi-Fi just went down, and then that was the challenge. And then sometimes the data would work on one of our phones or not the other, so we were just like hotspotting each other. It was that was a challenge. But we made it through. We made it work. We didn't miss any sales. I don't think we'd missed any because of Wi-Fi issues. So.
No.
Yeah. So now this was your test season. How many shows did you do? Can you tell us a little bit about the different shows and kind of how they were different as well?
Yeah, we did.
We did 4 together.
4.
And then Caroline had 2 extra on her own, so she did actually 6.
But they were in a big marquee with lots of other sellers, so I didn't. With our own setup, we only did those together. Like we would never do that without each other.
Yeah.
But we decided to try out like different types. So like the first one we did was just a generic music festival. It was quite small, which we wanted for our first one. Which was okay.
But quite small, so the sales were in line with how small the festival was as well.
But it was just like a generic music one. And then the next one was like
events.
Was that the kids one?
Yeah, the Gone Wild.
Gone Wild. So it was like an activity festival. There was still music, so there were still stages, but it was more bring your kids to the festival for the weekend. They can go rock climbing, they can go canoeing, they can do this, they can do that.
All activity based.
Yeah, but it was mainly for kids.
We didn't know.
Which we did know, but we did. I don't think we really thought it through.
Yeah.
So I think we thought there'll be families there, so they're still going to be wanting to look around our stuff because it's families. But in essence, it was more people wanting kids stuff, like they were treating the kids. That's what it felt like. And neither of us have that much stuff for kids, so it probably, in hindsight, wasn't quite the right fit. But we didn't know that until we did it. So and then we did a folk festival as well.
Yes, that was the last one,
which was good, but the weather was pretty bad. And that definitely affected sales and people's enjoyment because people were getting soaked. It was really raining. So, and then the other one was, I can't remember what the other one was.
We out here. So then that was we were under a marquee on that one. So we had 3 with gazebos, our own gazebo, and then one was still under a marquee with other makers.
Yeah.
Which was slightly easier, but then the car was as much full.
Yeah, we don't know how we managed that. But anyway, we didn't have the gazebo and the tables. We were like, we're going to have loads of room, but we didn't. The car was still bursting.
So given that this was a big experiment year, right? You were just trying all sorts of things to see how it fits with both of your businesses. Would you do it again? What would it look like if you were to do it again? What do you think it would look like?
I mean, I'm 100% wanting to do it again next summer.
Absolutely.
Me too. I think we've learned a lot, and we've kind of learned, like the kids one. I don't think we'll do it again. It just wasn't the right fit for us. Yeah.
Unless we change and do a bit of more kids products, but then again, why?
Right. So I don't think we'll do that. But I think we kind of know now, and I think I personally think we could be a bit more, like if we get there and we don't like where we've been positioned, we say something. Because one of the festivals we did, we weren't in a very good spot, sadly, and we didn't know that because we'd never done one before, so we didn't really know whether it was a good spot or not, or it wasn't.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now, if they said, "Oh, this is where you are," we'd be like, "Oh, hold on, can we go there?" Or have a discussion with the organisers.
Yeah.
And I think we've got the confidence now to do that, which is great, because at the beginning we felt like we didn't really know what we were doing.
Yes.
We were like, "Hi," we're like, "We'll just put our gazebo here, then that's fine." Whereas I think now we'd be like, "Well, actually, this isn't really going to work. Can we go there? Can we?" Yeah. So I think we'll definitely we'll have a bit more
about
it. Yeah. We've got a bit more research into those.
Yeah. And then we just need to like decide what kind of music, if it's a music or if it's that kind of a different activity. We heard there are some reading festivals or more like sort of smart festivals.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to say it? But we still need to discover some more different areas maybe, but maybe we could do few to still try, but few music ones that we like, so we can balance it, because I think there's always learning curve. There's different events, so in each event obviously it will be different, and also it's the puzzle of fitting everything onto in 1 month or 2 months, regarding the time, and make it fit.
And we had quite a few people say that we met on the circuit that said to us, "Oh, you'd be really good at this festival, you'd be really good at..." So we were jotting all these down. So then we need to then go through all those and see if actually we can get into any of them and whether it would work for us. But that was quite useful.
Yeah.
Speaking to other traders was so helpful, like people who have been doing it for years, and their knowledge and just their help on like things, like if we needed something, we'd forgotten something, people had something. You can always borrow things from people. So that was really good, actually.
Well, and at the same time, it's really nice when they'll look at your products, they'll see what it is and be like, "Oh, you would fit here better."
Yes.
And this is your market, because you're using the collective wisdom of everybody else and everything they've seen and everything they've tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when I think one of the most beautiful parts about networking, why I always advocate, when you're at a show, you have to go around and meet people. You have to. Even if you're grumpy that day, go meet them anyway and slap on a smile and get to know some folks, because they might be the key to your next best event.
100%.
And they're going to know about things that are not going to show up in your Google searches or your AI searches if you're using that now or whatever. And so people are your best advocates, I think. And so I think that's great that you found that people thought, "Oh, this product, oh, this is where you go." And you're like, "Didn't know that existed." Did you know about any on any of these shows? How many of them did you know about that people recommended?
Some of the ones that we found out, we got on really well with our neighbours at the last festival we did. And they do, well, God, I don't know. I think
they did the 17 in one summer.
Yeah, great. Like every single weekend. In some weekends they were doubling up and doing 2. It was just crazy. So but they've been doing it for years as well. So they were telling us about festivals we'd never heard of. And we had quite a few customers as well say, "Oh, have you ever thought about doing this festival? You'd be great there." So, but it's hard, because even though they say that, you just don't know. You might not be great there. And also it might be too expensive for us to do it, because
some festivals are just starting from 1,000 up. It's harder.
There's a lot of money to fork out and then not know whether you're actually it's gonna work. And it's tricky.
Yep. But at least they've given you the lead generation where you can start and you can hunt and it's a place to look.
Oh, 100%.
And it's the discovery part. And a lot of them are really going to really quickly, you're going to be like, "Nope, the fees are too high," or "Nope, they won't allow us to bring our joint show on the road."
Yes, exactly.
Because we're doing this together, because you're like, no, we want to maximize revenue, as opposed to going, "Oh, I see 2 highly complementary businesses that are choosing to travel together." It all depends on how the organizers look at that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we found also that we almost said we either do it together or we can't do it. And I think that then, whereas people, they think, "Oh, well, no, they can't do it together. They have to do it separately." We'd be like, "Well, we can't do that." So you've either got us both or you've got neither of us. So, well, I don't think we had any people say no to our joint venture. Can't remember any.
No.
Maybe some that were full already, but none.
Yeah, we didn't get some responses. Maybe they were those ones
maybe.
that said no.
Ignoring us means no.
Oh, well, this has been so fun. It's been great to hear about this grand experiment that the two of you embarked on. It's an innovative way to look at it, especially with such highly complementary products. It just makes it so much easier. Now, how are people going to follow you? Because I'm sure they want to see more about this epic adventure next year. So, how do people follow you both on socials?
My social is Ilke Usluca Design. Yeah, that's it.
And then mine is my reusables. So yeah, just my reusables. It's on Instagram. And yeah, you'll see our epic adventure 2026. Yeah.
All right. Thank you both so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone that tuned in for this fun adventure.
Thank you.
Thank you.